Canadian media predict that the Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, will win the federal election in Canada. Despite a campaign marred by Trump's provocations and tariffs. Axis Report affiliates predicted that the Liberals would win enough seats to form a fourth government in a row. However, Axis Report News stated that it is too soon to determine whether the government will be a minority or majority. A party needs 172 seats to form a majority, despite the fact that votes are still being counted. Former central banker Carney has led a wave of anti-Trump sentiment since winning his party's leadership contest in a landslide after former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stepped down last month. He has rallied the public against the U.S. president's threats to annex the country as the 51st state, and made the country's economic defense a central part of his platform. Carney told reporters at the end of March, "I reject any attempts to weaken Canada, to wear us down, to break us so that America can own us. We are masters in our own home." The Conservative opposition, led by longtime parliamentarian Pierre Poilievre, had been the favorite to win when Trudeau announced his resignation in January in the wake of dire polls. A serious cost of living crisis and an internal revolt in his cabinet. However, the race was fundamentally altered by Trump's severe tariffs on Canada and threats to its sovereignty. In the final week of the campaign, polls got much tighter. Poilievre was able to convince some voters that Carney couldn't be the change that many Canadians said they wanted in dozens of polls. Carney had never held political office before becoming Prime Minister. His decades in finance saw him steering governments through major global crises and periods of upheaval, including shepherding Canada's economy through the 2008 financial crisis. As Governor of the Bank of England, he helped the United Kingdom navigate Brexit, which he said mirrors what could happen to the US in the face of tariffs. Since he took office, Carney's messages have emphasized the need for Canada to forge its own path independent of US influence. Carney pitched himself throughout the campaign as an experienced professional from the political center who can steward Canada's economy through a period of profound turbulence. "I understand how the world works," Carney told podcaster Nate Erskine-Smith in October. "I know people who run some of the biggest businesses in the world and know how they work. I know how financial institutions work. I try to apply what I know about markets to Canada's advantage." Canadian businesses have been shaken by Trump's decision to impose a 25% duty on Canadian steel and aluminum, automobiles and car parts, and threats to impose tariffs on pharmaceuticals and lumber. It's a reality Carney has not sugarcoated, warning of tough days ahead, with pressure on Canadian employment. But the Prime Minister has pledged to build things in this country again, to make Canada less reliant on the US. New homes, new factories, and new sources of clean and conventional energy. "My solemn promise is to stand up for Canadian workers, to stand up for Canadian businesses," Carney said in March. "We will stand up for our history, our values and our sovereignty." Carney has not ruled out continued talks with Trump, but he has also been moving to deepen ties with more reliable allies. In an unusual move, his first prime ministerial trip abroad was to Europe, where he spoke to French and British officials about deepening security, military and economic ties. Many Canadians see Carney as someone well-placed to navigate a trade war with a long-standing ally, experts say. In a crisis, it's important to come together and it's essential to act with purpose and with force. And that's what we will do, Carney said earlier this month as he positioned himself as the leader to take on Trump. This is a developing story and will be updated.